Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Mind Heist. I think it's like episode 210 or something, but it's been a long time. A lot has gone on. What has gone on for you, bro? Tell me about your new spot, your new crib.
I'm in a kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you a tour, but I'm in a new house and I'm in my kitchen.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm recording today.
Yeah.
I don't live here yet, but certainly.
You're moving in fresh. You're you're certainly paying for it. So you're doubling down on the UK. This is the headline that I take from this. Like if I was one of those sensationalist newspapers, Akhi tweet commits to the UK, 10-year contract.
Trying to delve in. You're like one of those tabloid papers, man. You're like Piers Morgan.
Yes, exactly.
Do I condemn the UK?
Yeah.
No.
I want to hear it from your mouth. Do you condemn or are you committed to the UK?
No, man. I just had some delays with my plans, so I had to find somewhere to stay, inshallah. And here I've got this place, renting this place. So
Yeah.
here I am.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. How's the spot? Is it fancier than you've had in the past? Is it the same? Is it downgrade?
It's interesting because I've never had a place this big, and I've got a driveway, which is nice.
Okay. That's fancy, bro.
like-
That's like keeping up with the Joneses kind of territory.
That's it, and I'm in the middle of the city as well.
Oh,
to have the
really?
city, like I don't have to actually travel to the city. I'm in it. I'm in the city, but I've got
Okay.
a driveway. It's crazy.
Okay.
I know. Do you know what I was thinking? I was talking to my wife about this because when we were looking at this place and I was going to go for it, I was thinking, man, I remember being a kid and like driveways were boring. Like things like this was boring.
Yeah.
Houses, boring. The
Yeah.
news, boring.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, I got a driveway.
Exciting.
Like, when did that transition happen? You know?
Do you still
now it's
need,
like-
I mean, I suppose with 3 kids you do you still need a car like living there, like where you're living now? Or
Yeah, because I travel quite a lot with them. Take them far places, different cities.
could you
to the
rent
capital,
out your
etc.
driveway?
Probably, but oh god, yeah, I have like a neighbor issue where the neighbor likes to use my driveway even though I told him not to. So I'm dealing with that.
Right. You gotta, give the right impression from the start. No
Muslim
nonsense.
neighbor, though.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, so it kind of like when I first came here, there was a car in the driveway, and I was like, "That's not right." I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go tell him my business, right?" And
Yeah.
I knock on the door, and then it's like, "Oh, it's a Muslim guy," and I just felt really awkward. And he goes like this, bro. He goes, "Alhamdulillah." He puts his hands up. He's like, "Alhamdulillah." I was hoping there'd be Muslims, and I was like, "Oh."
Then you should have told him, yes, but it's bad news. It's bad news.
I told him. I did say, "Oh, listen, yeah, I'm paying for this. I need this. You can't have a garden and use my driveway."
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, inshallah, I'm not going to bait him out. It is what it is.
Yeah.
At the moment, he's still kind of using it, although he's using it as access to park in his garden as opposed to,
Oh, okay.
which means he's ruining his garden. But
Yeah.
this place has been empty for like 6 months, so I think that's why.
Is there still
took
an
advantage.
economic crisis?
I don't know, probably.
Probably. Wallah, this is the reality, right? Yeah.
Did you see the news on HMRC,
No.
hitting up all these side hustle kind of companies and making them commit to sharing information regards to people's side earnings so that they pay tax on them, essentially. So
Okay.
things
What
like
kind
eBay,
of? Right.
Etsy, I'm sure Gumroad, lots of like the crypto stuff, maybe the trading 212. Like the day after that, I got a lot of emails from like loads of random crypto websites that I forgot that I'd even signed up for,
Yeah.
asking me for more information. Which is a bit of a bummer because they're like stamping down on that sort of stuff.
Yes.
And I think it's like over £1,000 a year that you earn. You still have to pay tax on it, which is a tiny amount if you think about
What
it.
kind of tax would that be? Is that like capital gains, Yani?
I haven't looked into it in detail, to be fair. But I'm sure it's accounted as like extra earning, right?
Yeah, it's just that
Which a lot of people.
Oh yeah, that's true because if you've got a job, you've got like £12,000 tax free, and then after everything above that. But so in the past they didn't know what was above that because it's all on eBay or whatever. No one knows. I mean, it would come into your bank account though, no?
Yeah, but the argument was that like a lot of these things are like people selling secondhand things, like Etsy, for example, or whatever, selling clothes on eBay.
Yeah.
You've already paid tax on that when you purchased it, so now you're paying tax to get rid of it. It's a bit, and you're probably selling it at a loss anyway.
Yeah, although businesses do that, right? Where they collect and pay VAT, and then they also would pay on their profits like corporation tax.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that it's justifiable, but it has a precedent, Yani. So yeah, that's sad, bro. But this is what they do. This is what the local gang lord does. When they need the cash, they go to their neighborhood and they hit up all the people and they say, look.
Absolutely. No surprises there. Obviously, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Yes. Although in this case, the government is actually poor, but the people that it's funding are rich. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. What's new with you, bro? It's been a while.
A lot of new things. A lot of new things. I nearly,
go for it.
Not I, my wife nearly had a baby 2-3 days ago.
Allahumma barik. Oh, mashallah.
Nearly. That's the key point. Nearly. No.
So right now we're in imminent.
Well,
imminently.
Well, that's what we thought, right? We thought, okay, if it's not tonight, then it'll be tomorrow, next day. But then we went and they checked it and they're just like, yeah, it was a false alarm. Like, it's not really coming. Like, there's no sign that it's coming. Of course, it could be any moment. It could be any moment. It's in that kind of period. But the due date is still like 3 weeks away, I think. So we'll see. But that's number 3, bro.
Okay. Allahumma barik. You're going to join the 3 gang.
Yes. And beyond that is, not beyond that is, you need the, what do they call it? A 3-row car.
So I'm driving a Hyundai i40 nav blue estate. Okay.
Yeah.
Google that, people.
Nav
Google
40.
That. I love my car. Alhamdulillah.
I40 or nav 40?
Say mashallah. I40 nav blue or something like that.
Oh, I40. Okay.
It's like
I40. Okay. Estate. Okay. And you said it's blue.
CRDI or something. They've got lots of 1.7 CRDI blue drive SE nav.
But this is not
I40.
This is not 3 rows, is it? It's just estate, big boot.
No. It's just a big boot.
But you're three kids gang. But when you go to 4, inshallah, then
so the way it works now is that I mean, it's still quite small for us at the moment, but I've relegated my wife to the back seat and like one of the kids sits in the front. And that way I can fit 3 car seats in without having to bunch them together.
Yes. So can you do car seats in the front seat, yeah? No problem.
With Suleiman I can because he's old enough.
Oh, he doesn't have the seat. He just got a little thing. Yeah. Okay. Big man of the house.
That's it, bro.
Bro, you know what?
Up front.
I plant the seeds from now. Like, I'll be telling my son, when you get older, you can, like, do the shopping. Yeah, I was just telling him today, when you get older, you can pay the bills. And then he's like, what's bills?
Absolutely.
I had to tell him what bills are. I'm like, when we use electricity, we pay the ammo for the bills. So then you can pay for the bills. And I was like, oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, sounds fun. Bro, I'm 100% with you there. Like, I was having a discussion with my wife about Suleiman and like his development and how we can kind of help him and assist him. And I realized that he craves responsibility, and giving him that, it's very easy. We spoke about this before, but it's very easy to say, no, don't do that. Leave it to me. I'll do it. Don't put that down. I'll do that. And actually need to let him mess up and get busy doing things and feeling responsible. Yeah. Otherwise, when he's older and you actually do need him to do something, he ain't gonna do it. He hasn't grown up doing it, right?
Yeah, a lot of stuff I think is expectations. The expectation that you will tidy whatever stuff yourself, or that you're gonna, go and do chores or whatever. Plant these seeds, have the expectations, act like it's very normal, and boom. Yeah. Obviously, other kids that they hang out with influence their expectations as well. So you just got to watch out for that.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
But yeah, 3rd kid should be good. I mean, I kind of, mashallah, tabarakallah, my wife, pregnancy is quite easy for her. So I kind of forget that a baby's coming until the last month. really. Alhamdulillah,
Yeah.
which is a big blessing, Yani. So yeah, the last month is like, let it be over kind of thing. But yeah, third one will be good. It's a girl as well, inshallah. So may Allah give her good health, make her one of the salihat. I still don't have a name, still can't think of a name, still going back and forth, ping-ponging. Can't really pick one, but we'll have to pick one, be forced. And then, yeah, I guess that means this month I'm going to spend an above average amount of money, because obviously you give birth in a private hospital. I mean, like we do here, you don't have to, you could go government one, but it's just not that conducive if you, I guess, don't speak Turkish and stuff. It's not the best.
Yeah.
So we go private, so you pay for that. And then aqiqah, pay for that. And then I usually rent a car because, just have the ability to just go hospital when needed.
Oh, okay.
So these kind of added things. That's all good, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, man.
It's all fi sabilillah.
I wonder how you're going to deal with the change. I think it's a huge difference, bro. I think having between 2 and 3, massive difference.
Oh, really?
Massive difference. Yeah, I think it's just a massive, big difference, bro.
I thought you were going to say having a girl versus a boy.
Well, I don't know about that. Can't speak firsthand, can I?
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's got its differences. But definitely, like now that Khalid can walk, and he doesn't just walk, bro. He's just everywhere. Like you blink and he's already upstairs. Like he's just. And it's like, I suppose when you've got 2 kids, it's 2 on 2. So you can kind of like, okay, you hold him, I'll hold him. I'll get him ready, you get him ready.
Okay.
Right? But when it's 3, it's like, you get him ready, I'll get him ready. Hey, where's the third one? Oh, he's in. Oh, he's gone. Do you know what I mean?
He's hanging out the window.
Deal with that. Absolutely. You go and get the young one ready. The other one's taking his coats off and his shoes off. You go and get him ready. The other one's missing. He's in the toilet. Oh, he needs help. And it's like, you're constantly...
Okay, yes.
Putting out fires.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think a lot of that would come down to if the eldest is on the older side, or if they're, very kind of sensible, then it might be kind of all right or easier or whatever. So I'm hoping for that. My first he's pretty good. He's very sensible, kind of, he likes organization and structure kind of thing. So
right.
I'm hoping he would actually help and not be another like, oh, there's 3 now. It'll be more like, well, there's 2 little ones and there's one that's a little bit helpful. Hopefully, inshallah, ya Rab.
Yeah. Inshallah. Well, it can change the dynamic a bit because the older one might feel like he's not getting enough attention and then act up more just to get more attention, right?
Yes.
So that's also a possibility.
Yeah, it is all unknown. Someone told me he's got like 4 or 5 kids. I can't remember. He said 2 to 3 is easier. And he's like 3 to 4 is even easier. And he said because, what did he say? Yes, he said the more kids you have, the more they busy themselves with each other.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's what he said. He's like, 4, like his older kids are a bit older though, like the different type of issues they would have. But yeah, well, we never know. Maybe it's cool. Maybe it's great. But I do have the feeling that like 3, 4, 5, it doesn't make much difference. 3, 4, 5. Yes, 0 to 1 is huge, massive. Then 1 to 2, massive. We'll
I don't know, man. Allah Alam, bro.
Yeah,
depends how much your kids want you, bro. How much they want your attention all the time, bro. I walk through the door and I'm like, I wake up in the morning, Akhi, and they're like all over me, jumping on me. They just want me all the time. Alhamdulillah. Great stuff. Not complaining. But like, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like daddy daycare 24/7.
Yeah. So in that case, 4 or 5 would be different. Do they busy each other? Like they do play mostly with each other and they fight and all that kind of stuff, isn't it, as well, right?
Yeah. It's just I guess so in that regard. I think it's difficult when the weather's colder and you can't really go out as much.
Yes,
and especially if I'm working a lot, I can't take them out as much.
Yeah.
But in the summer, like my wife's really good. She takes them, even in the winter, she takes them out. But in the summer, she's like out all the time with them, to the park, to the gardens, to wherever.
Yeah.
So that's what boys need.
That's been my issue as well. But this year I was like, look, as long as it's not snowing, it's not freezing, Like, halas, just go out, just like force yourself. Because the kids don't have a problem with going out in the cold. It's me. I'm the barrier. I'm the
Yeah.
problem, right?
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
so just sort yourself out and take them out, innit?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do more and more, inshallah. But yeah, it's kind of snowing. It was snowing today. It was snowing today in Istanbul, but it was the kind of snow that melts as soon as it lands.
Right.
Other than that, bro, it's not
it's-
felt like winter. It's pretty kind of warm.
No.
Yeah.
We had a bit of that yesterday. It snowed here as well. So maybe it's... I thought we were going to skip it. I thought, oh, it's quite a warm winter, but here we are. Freezing now, but not sticking. At least not where I am.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Are you like, you know how the whole thing in the UK is like, the UK weather is rainy, it's this, it's that, but still people complain about it all the time, right? Are you like
100%.
used to it, or you complain, or what?
I don't find myself complaining about the weather. I would complain if it's snowing. I think that's my thing. Like I can't deal with ice and snow. I'm not a fan because it kind of cripples me a little bit. Even driving is quite tough because it's quite a hilly area. But other than that, I'm not really too fussed because everything I need to do and want to do is not really weather dependent, right? So I mostly like to stay indoors, and if I'm not indoors, I go to the gym, and that's about it. I go to the masjid and just that kind of thing. So it's not that big of a deal. Other people, though, they have different hobbies, bro. You know, some people like to play football and stuff, and they require the outdoors all the time. Other people like to go shopping and whatever, and just go out and about. Once again, that requires decent weather, that kind of stuff. And I think maybe, you know, I think people, I find like English people generally, they don't really, they just firm it. Maybe they firm the cold a bit more. Whilst I'm a bit like my wife firms the cold very well. But I'm like, oh, I can't deal with this. I'm not really a cold guy. But the heat, chilling, bro. Give me that Tunisian sun. I'm out there, just loving it. My wife's dying, but I'm loving it. Although it could be something to do with, you know, wearing niqab and jilbab and all that.
Maybe a bit. Maybe a bit.
No, I'm loving it, bro. I'm like, come on.
So what do you get up to these days? Are you just like work, gym, home, work, gym, home?
Bro. Not to go into my routines again, like I always do, but I've lost so much weight. My trousers falling down. I need new clothes. I've been so consistent like last 6 months. Yeah, I'm seeing gains I ain't never seen since before I was married. I think it's just because I've been, you know, proper consistent and not really, I suppose not yapping about it too much, but yeah, it's been going really well, really well.
I remember when you were on keto, we saw we had your weight on a graph. How did we get that? Do you have some sort of, you know, Wi-Fi connected scales or something? I don't know.
No, I think it might have been. Oh, I think it's because I track it on an app on my phone, which has also got a website that kind of.
Oh, you just like manually input it.
Yeah.
So what's your graph looking like? Is it like all-time lowest?
Yeah, it's definitely the lowest. Yeah, I'm definitely the lowest I've been in like since I got married, probably.
Yeah.
I think I'm back at. Maybe I'm a little. I can't remember. I didn't weigh myself back then, but.
Yeah, and how do you do it? Because it's not like just gym, and it's mostly like what you eat.
So this is my routine, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I eat whatever I want, more or less, as long as it's within a calorie deficit.
Yeah. So you count calories and you're strict.
Yeah, I've been very consistent with that. I think I've got like a 70-day streak or something at the moment, which is really good. 72-day streak, it says. We've got that.
Yeah.
And then I go to the gym mostly 3 times a week. And I just do 1 day on, 1 day off. 1 day on, 1 day off. Maybe that's not enough for bodybuilding. I don't really care. I'm not bodybuilding.
That's a lot of days, bro. Nice. That's like 3-4 times a week.
Yeah, I found that that's the most kind of nice structure.
Yeah.
Because some days I might not want to go, right? Yeah. But at least I know, well, tomorrow's off.
Yeah.
Day off tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go.
Yeah.
I go there. I'll do a certain muscle group, whatever. Maybe back and biceps or chest, triceps, legs, shoulders, and abs. Do that for about an hour. 50 minutes to an hour, depending how long it takes. I don't really have a plan. I can't, because I've been training for years, on and off, I just kind of know what works and what's good for me, right? And then I always finish up about 20 to 30-minute run. Mostly it's 20 minutes, but 20 to 30-minute run.
Is that like jogging kind of speed?
Yeah, although I did up it a couple of days ago. But yeah, just you know, the speed that I can talk in comfortably, right? Even my watch, it will tell me like, it'll give you like color codes for your heartbeat. And I'm like, end of the green, bottom of the orange. Like I'm that kind of level, if you know what I mean.
Well, I hate running, but you're making me feel like, yeah, that could be cool. That could be nice.
It took me a while. It always takes a while. Like when you haven't done it for ages, it's always like, I hate this. I hate this. I just want to, I don't want to do this. And then most of it now, it's like fighting the boredom. It's not actually the pain. It's like, I've been doing this like 20 minutes. Shall I push for 30? I can't be bothered. I'm so bored.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you don't do like a podcast thing or something?
Yeah, I'll put a podcast on. I listen to audiobooks. I'm listening to...
Ryan Holiday. Let me guess. It's Ryan Holiday again.
No.
Okay.
I'm listening to the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown.
Okay. Fiction.
I'm on the third book. Yeah, I'll give you the premise just because why not?
Yeah.
Okay. Premise is, bro, because I'm maybe because of everything that's going on in Palestine and stuff, I'm kind of tapping into these kind of pop culture like resistance novels, right? Although this one's quite a sci-fi one, but it's in a way, it's like thousands of years in the future, and human beings have kind of like, I don't know, modified themselves genetically, and there's this like really rigid class system, okay, and they're color coded based on many factors. Gold is like the top of the food chain. They're like musclier, smarter, more beautiful, everything, like almost like some super Aryan race. But obviously they're very genetically altered as well, so they're I don't know, like I said, stronger, and they can they're probably like over 6 feet, all of them, and they can jump really high and all sorts of stuff. And then like right at the bottom of the food chain is like reds. The reds are like scrawny, but they're miners. Like they're mining in Mars, and they're like mining for these rare minerals and stuff.
Right.
Anyway, first book is like the reds have been told that they are terraforming. They're preparing Mars for terraforming. Okay. And because of that, they need to prepare the rest of the human race that's going to come from Earth to come and live on Mars, because Earth is dying. So you guys, you need to dig, and you need to get all the resources for us. You know, we love you, Reds. You know, but they're really living in slavery and servitude.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, and they're all like, you know, they're very family orientated kind of communities and stuff like that. So they're very like likable. Reminds me of like Irish communities. They've even got the Irish accent. Actually, listen to the audiobook. But spoilers. Okay, it's the beginning of the book. I mean, it's going to be spoilers. Without going into any big story beats, you basically find out that they've been lied to. The main character finds out that he's been lied to. They actually came to Mars like hundreds of years prior, and they've just kept the Reds underground, basically slaving away, so that the rest of society can you know, live a great life on the resources that they're digging. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
So you mean the terraforming thing was not true? Moving to Mars was not true?
They're already on Mars. Basically, loads and loads of planets have already been colonized and terraformed and stuff. But they've kept these red guys underground mining so that they can keep living the high life.
Yes.
You know, without having to like, you know,
give them any crumbs. And let me guess, the main character is a red.
He's a red, but what they do, basically, his wife gets executed for something that she's meant to, she sings a revolutionary song she's not meant to sing.
Right.
He gets executed after her, but he was actually, before he was executed, he was like kidnapped or whatever by a terrorist organization, right? Which are very, look, they're a terrorist organization. Well, they're not really, are they? Because in the book, guess what? They're like a revolutionary resistance fighters. Funny that. How many times have we seen that trope?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What they do is they take this guy. They say, hey, you got a heart of a lion. Like you pretty brave. Like what you did was pretty brave. We're going to genetically modify you and turn you into a gold, and you're going to infiltrate their entire society, rise to the top of the ranks through going to their schools, passing their exams, climbing their political ladder. So when you're at the top of the rank, you're going to basically destroy their society from within. And that's the premise of the.
So he didn't get executed.
No, so like before he was about to get executed,
They downloaded his brain.
No, I think his uncle gave him something to drink, whatever, and it made it look like he died. It slowed his heartbeat, and do you know what I mean? Something like that.
Okay.
But essentially, it's like a story of like a guy who's not of the people that he hates, but he has to infiltrate them, be friends with them. But it's this like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, and then he starts developing feelings for people, like friends and stuff. He's getting close to the people, but actually he should hate these people.
But they're his
to his
enemies.
people.
Yeah.
They're his enemies, but are they
Classic.
his friends? And then he's like,
classic.
Yeah. But bro, obviously, and it's set on the backdrop of like a super crazy space opera sci-fi world, which is always nice. But obviously, it makes you think of loads of different things, right? And obviously, like what I mentioned earlier. Oh, look, these guys are terrorists. Oh no, even like there's like even parts in the book where it's like the political elite are like, oh, do you know what we should do? We should bomb all these cities and say the terrorists did it, and that way we can do this and that. Like all these political mind games, right?
False flag.
You just can't help but draw. Yeah, you can't help but draw like parallels to a lot of real world events, Palmer.
Yeah.
Which reminds me.
So you recommend like listening to books, like stories? Yeah, it's like it's a thing.
I haven't. I never really did it before.
Yeah.
I've only listened to. Remember Mohammed's podcast, Inspire Reads?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he recommended a book once. That's when I kind of started. I forgot what it was called. Something about a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Flowers for Algernon, or however you pronounce it.
Mm.
And it's from memory. I think it's essentially a man with learning difficulties back in like the 60s or 70s or whatever, and he's given this experimental either drug or surgery. He's really, really kind of slow and finds it difficult to read, difficult to do anything that requires any sort of level of intelligence. And even the audiobook, when he's speaking, he does this very like kind of slow monotone voice to kind of emulate that. And then slowly after this surgery, this procedure, he slowly starts getting really smart until he becomes an absolute genius, like Einstein level. And even his voice changes and the way he pronounces things. But then he starts pondering over the world and all this sort of stuff. He gets like all these deep thoughts. And then the crisis, spoilers for anyone who wants to skip, the crisis at the end is that the surgery thing, the procedure isn't forever, and he slowly starts regressing.
Oh.
And he literally goes right back to how he was at the start, and it's just that journey and seeing him slowly decline. So, it's like so stressful and so. But after that, I was like, do you know what? Maybe I should listen to some more things. Obviously, that's alongside a lot of other material and content, whether it's podcasts or whether it's lectures or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think on the spectrum of things that you can listen to, I don't know. I don't think stories are that bad. You know,
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff you can listen to.
Yeah, I've had this solid routine recently, which is walk to the office in the morning, walk back. So that's like 10 minutes. So it's 20 minutes of audiobook, and then walk to Isha and back. That's 10 minutes. So 40 minutes a day of walking, which is good, and listening. And, you know, I'm always tempted, to be honest, to go for a podcast because they're more entertaining for me. But books are more beneficial. So I've been like, you know, pushing on just sticking to the audiobooks. I finished a book recently. It's called Storyworthy. It's about telling stories and how to tell stories. And wallah, it's definitely one of the better books I've read or listened to. And he gives you like proper like ways to make a good story. For example, he's like, every story should be built around a 5 second or like a moment which reveals a transformation. Yeah. So, and he's like, you start with that, and whatever that transformation that has happened at the end, you start the story with the opposite situation. Right. So he's like, you know, let's say one of these stories where, well, he gave a real example of Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park, the dude, you know, the first Jurassic Park, what's that guy's name? Sam Neill, I think. So I don't remember. beginning of the film, he hates kids and he doesn't want kids.
Right.
And there's this lady he's talking to, but she wants kids. He doesn't want kids. And he's like he's an archaeologist, right? So archaeologist? Yeah. So he's got like dinosaur bones and stuff, paleontologist. And he's like scaring kids with the bones of dinosaurs and stuff like that. And he's saying, yeah, if the dinosaur was here, he would eat you. Yeah. So what's the opposite of that? To know what the end will be is that he actually likes kids and he loves kids and he's playing with the kids, with dinosaurs, whatever. Right. So he reveals that Jurassic Park is nothing to do with dinosaurs. Jurassic Park is the story of a man's transformation from hating kids to loving kids. That's it. And the dinosaurs is just an embellishment, just a polish to make it a bit more fancy, a bit more exciting. But really, the story is about transformation. And if a story does not have a transformation of the characters, it's not a story. It's not going to be a good story, Yanni. And so this was a big takeaway that I had, and it was quite, mind blowing. And he's like, but this would ruin any movie you watch from now on is going to be ruined because whatever the first scene is, the end will be the opposite. He's like, this is proven, Yanni.
Yeah. No, I think, and that's the thing. Like, I think I admire that as well. Like, when you're listening to something that's that, you think, how did this guy come up with this? Like, this is crazy level of forward planning and really knuckling down. Like, you ever try to come up with a bedtime story for your kids? It's lame.
Wallah, freestyle. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a pretty great skill, and I think even learning that kind of level of because it works on two ways, right? The language that's used in the book, and if you were to read the book, then you would pick up on lots of grammar, punctuation, words,
adjectives, interesting. So
yeah, exactly. Like, how many times have I paused and I'm like, oh, that's an interesting word. What does that mean? Especially with this book that I was talking about, the Red Rising series, because he's got that like very colloquial Irish accent at the beginning, but as soon as he becomes gold, he's like very well spoken and he's got to put on this performance that literally just becomes him, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, and I found myself like even emulating a bit of that because I've got it on all the time, right? But so there's that, but also teaching yourself how to communicate in a way that is engaging with your audience. And it also made me think a bit about the podcast and what we communicate to each other or communicate with anyone, really. And without that kind of exposure, you're not going to know. I mean, if you listen to even an Islamic lecture, you can tell the difference between someone who's very well spoken, but speech isn't necessarily something they've studied in that regard, like that kind of skill, as opposed to someone who's very well versed in the deen, but not necessarily trained in the art of delivering that kind of information. Right. And I've come across that, and I see the levels of engagement. Let's take Mufti for an example. Only because he's probably the person
he got the gift of the gab.
But even like the style of his delivery is quite like the pauses. Abdurrahman Hassan has that as well, where he will refer back to the audience and ask them, are you paying attention? Essentially, there's a little.
So you see what I mean, or this kind of thing.
But Mufti more so, I think.
Abdul Qawi,
such an avid reader. Oh man,
this is sometimes when there's someone you've been listening to and you're like, oh wow, like I would love to meet him or whatever, and then you finally meet him. Like I think I said this before. I've met Nu'man Ali Khan, I've met Sheikh Haytham, I met a lot of these people, and when I see them in person, well, I've got nothing to say. Like, I'm like, why am I even saying salam to this guy? Khalas, I'll say salam, but I've got nothing to say. Like, I like his whatever lectures, or I benefited from him somehow. Khalas, yani I don't need to kiss his ring, yani, or ask him, oh, what's your favorite, I don't know, dish? I don't know, but with Mufti, I would straight up asking, who is this legendary Abdul Qawi?
I'm not interested in you. I'm interested in Abdul Qawi.
And there's the other guy. What's his name? There's Abdul Qawi and there's Abu something. I can't remember, man. It's been a while since I listened to Mufti.
Yeah, it's been a while, to be fair, even for me.
So, but what are you saying? Like, because I, for example, I would consider, from what I know, Yani, from my observation, like for whatever reason, Allah allowed me to be pretty good at just speaking. But it doesn't mean I've got a lot to learn when it comes to storytelling, I feel, you know? So there's a difference between those two things. Like I can speak well, but I definitely could take it a next level if I was like good at storytelling. I had more stories to tell as well, of course, and all of that. So is that kind of thing you mean, right? These two parts of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's one level of having the confidence to speak. That is even the most basic level. I don't think I've ever had that problem. Like public speaking doesn't. Yeah, everybody gets nervous to do it, but I've always like put my foot forward to do it. And I think even in the podcast, we wouldn't have a podcast running this long if we couldn't talk to each other at least. But identifying what, I know that I speak way too fast and I forget that I'm speaking too fast. And now I'm aware of it, so I'm trying to slow down. But generally speaking, and there's also shortcuts, like you can probably get to what you're trying to say a lot quicker without all the filler and without the roundabout. And I'm sure you've got your own kind of like observations of me and of yourself.
I think I've fallen off a little bit when it comes to filler words. I think 50 episodes ago there was very few filler words, and more recently there's been filler words. That's kind of what I either notice or I've seen it in the transcript afterward.
Yeah. Although part of that I think is due to what you're consuming, who you're talking to, who you're surrounded by. There's a famous video in my own mind, of a video that I did for Roadside to Islam, like Abu Bakr, right? Yeah. You've probably seen it. If you were to find that video and watch it, bro, you wouldn't even recognize who I am. I spoke completely differently. Like it was just
like what, less confidently? Like what?
No, bro. Like I was speaking like a fake roadman, and I don't know why. Like that's how I used to speak, because that's who I used to hang around with. Yeah, bro. So if you were to listen to that, whilst now I am very much like completely isolated from people, like more than ever.
So the way you speak now is like your fitra.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, whoever I am now, like what you see now is probably the most me I am, because I don't see anybody at all. I see people like maybe once every 2-3 months. And even that, it's like for a few hours. It's not, because life's just the way it is. So, so because of that, who I am now, what I do now, what I'm into now is pretty much who I am. And I think likewise for you, maybe going to Turkey initially has put you into that position where you're like, oh, well, this is who I am. Obviously, you probably engage with your colleagues and stuff at work. But I think probably guessing, maybe most of your time, you're not socializing. You're probably on your own, or at least with family.
I wish, but these days, I'm not social like by choice, but it just, my lifestyle in Turkey is very social compared to UAE, extremely social. Really? Yeah. Like this office I'm in, I share it with a guy. So when I come here in the morning, he's here. And then, we have the whole thing of like, okay, don't talk, let's work. Don't talk, let's work. And then like half the guys in this office space, like I know them. So there's a lot of socializing that happens right now. But you're right in terms of, I would not choose to have it this way, but there are definitely benefits to it, and it just is what it is. But definitely I feel like I'm someone who kind of gets distracted easily, so I would always kind of try and be on my own, working alone and this kind of thing. But alhamdulillah, is what it is. It's not terrible.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
One thing you're talking about, public speaking, one thing I was thinking about is a pet peeve of mine is when the du'at, they're doing khutbah, they're doing videos, lectures, you'll find it on YouTube. Even these random guys refuting, a huge, I would say 50% or more of them, their English level is very bad, right? And they've got their native accent, they're not immigrants to the UK or America or anything.
Oh, right.
But I guess maybe their parents were immigrants, and until today, even though they got the accent, you hear it about this guy's American, this guy's proper British, whatever, but the English language is not really there. Like sometimes they'll be using words and that's not the use of that word. This is just pet peeve of mine, but it made me it just made me realize, because when I was a teacher, teachers would discuss this kind of thing, like, kids are not reading enough and they're not developing that level of English where it's like, okay, I know what these words actually mean, I use them in the correct way, blah blah blah. Just something I notice, and it spikes me in the throat.
You know what? You raise an interesting point, because this is what I think was really quite clear to me when Shahid Bolson started getting quite popular on YouTube and stuff. And I speak to Shahid maybe like once or twice a week. I speak to him quite regularly. But I told him this. I think I told him this. I was like, the thing that annoys me the most about your content is the comments of people fascinated with how you speak, as opposed to like commenting on your ideas.
Yes.
Right. And then what it made me realize is that we are so intellectually deprived of people that are well spoken, regardless of what his positions and views and opinions are, whatever. Because he's got very good delivery, a lot of the comments are like, "Whoa, the way you talk is amazing. You sound like Malcolm X." And I'm like, can we praise the idea, or this, like, comment on the idea as opposed to the way it was delivered? And because of that, because there's such an abundance of comments like that, I just feel like that's really sad. I think it's so sad that we are like
deprived
deprived in that. Yeah, deprived in that.
And that probably makes him stand out, isn't it? A lot.
Absolutely. But then, like, when I really lay it out, I'm like, oh, he's not using the biggest words ever, if you know what I mean.
He's not
using like super complicated language.
He's definitely like way above average, though, isn't it? Like amongst Muslims.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think there's certain levels to it. There's certain things that
it's
make
not
up that
it's not that whole Muhammad hijab, pick out stuff from the dictionary. Yeah, it's not that. It's not even, it's not overuse of these words. He's using the right word in the right place with the right meaning. It's just he knows how to use it. But I think with him, by the way, for those that don't know, Shahid Bolson is the guy who runs the channel and the accounts called Middle Nation. He's a white guy, grey beard, short grey beard. People make those comments about him that he talks like, Malcolm X kind of pose, right? And he's not black, by the way. But this is the thing. It's a combination of, he's very good at speaking. He's very good at, his English is good. English level is good. And his ideas that he's expressing, he knows the ideas well. So when you put these three things together, boom, it sounds very good, Yani.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it's interesting you raised Muhammad Hijab as another example, because, although, I'm not doubting his intelligence and stuff, but a lot of I suppose there's a lot more humor inputted and injected into his kind of thing. Yeah. And even the words he's using, like sometimes, like, I don't know, throwing pusillanimous at people or whatever, and all the insults, it's to inject humor into the situation as opposed to really genuinely.
Not a serious thing. Muhammad Hijab's level of English, though, you can tell is very good, Yani. Even though I'm sure his parents are immigrants and everything, but I would put that down to his reading. He's done a lot of reading, Yani. But yeah, sometimes, Ro, like, I'm not going to mention names, but there are people who their level of knowledge of the Sharia is top. Yes?
Yeah.
But their ability to express what they know in English is actually quite weak. And it's a bit of a shame. And then you get another side of it, is the guys that speak like not so good translations of Arabic into English. That group, that clique of people. And that's funny as well, because sometimes they're using these words that are often used in translation. Like, I'll give you a real example. Verily, perhaps. So that's kind of rare, but yes. But what a common one is rather.
Rather.
How often do we use rather in our speech? Very rarely. Okay, very rarely.
I feel like I do.
But very rare, because rather is common in Arabic, or like in. But when you translate it into English, they translate it as rather. So then these people read in the books and they're saying rather all the time. But for me, it doesn't sit right because of how rarely it's actually used in our day-to-day use. And that's why I would say these guys are speaking like a translation.
Okay, maybe. You know, it depends where you're born, raised, where you like. I think me and you are quite similar, and even
Of
our
course.
use of language.
Yeah.
But I've definitely been with people who have. I remember I was with my friends once, and we were. I can't remember what it was. We got ourselves into some mess or something, and we had to communicate with somebody to sort it out. It was either on the phone, like a service provider, whatever, and they all turned to me and said, "You need to speak to them." I don't know why. It was just like because you sound the most English out of us.
You sound the most English.
Yeah, so it's all right. But yeah, man, stuff like that. So it's probably because I just don't have the London accent, right? Whilst I think that London accent is quite endemic, really, and a lot of people associate it with, I don't know, the roadman kind of lifestyle. Even though they're not of that, they kind of adopt it. A lot of guys aren't on
Yes,
that
I mean
life, but they will adopt that life
it might be
in their
like the
language.
California accent, Hollywood accent, is it called in America? Like that accent's so common, although it's originally from that part of the place, but it kind of became the cool accent or something. So same in the
Yeah,
UK,
100%.
everyone wants. But London accent is not just that accent that you're talking about, but that's the
No,
one
of
that
course.
kind of is popular, isn't it?
Yeah, because on the contrary, you've got like the Cockney accent.
Yeah, you got
Um,
Cockney and you got like, I get the, the whole like Queen's accent. That's not really London, is it? I don't know.
no, no, I don't know. Is it? Is it? I don't know. I don't know. Queen's dead, bro. It's a man's world now. The
Oh,
king.
okay. Patriarchy's
Come
back.
on, let's go, baby.
What accent do you have? You got like that southern London accent.
I don't know. I don't know. People have to tell me.
You
I've got an
like
accent
definitely
of.
you've got southern accent. Now, is it London or is there something that's southern but not London? I don't think that exists. I think you have
If
a
I don't have,
standard
if I don't
London.
have a Brighton accent, I'd be very like. I've been here since I was like 10.
Yeah. But I
So
can't tell the difference between Brighton and London accent. I'm not really sure about that.
I can tell like that guy's from London. Because when I'm in London, bro, and I ask for a coffee, and then I say it like they ask me, "How can I help you?" in a London
Yeah.
accent, and when I reply with what I want,
Yeah.
I immediately am aware that I sound completely different to.
Really?
I didn't used to be that aware, but now I'm like this. Yeah, they know I'm not from here because the third question they ask me is, "Where you from?"
No.
Especially like
But
if I go and get a haircut. If I get a haircut, bro, straight away it's like they're asking me in their very, typical London accent, what I want. And then I respond and I'm like, I sound very English right now.
right.
But
But in London, most people you speak to don't even speak English very well.
yeah, there could be that. It could be that as well. I
Well,
feel like I'm gonna offend a lot of people with this episode.
you know what you just said, for example, when I ask for a coffee, that's London, bro. Or southern or
Ask.
London, whatever. Like I say ask in it, you say ask. So
Ask. Oh yeah, ask. Well, that's because you're a bit higher up. Everything's south to you, bro.
yes, it is. Yeah.
Everything is. Although now you're in Turkey, you kind of like just everything's elsewhere.
I got
guess.
the Istanbul accent, bro.
Everything is al-gharb now.
yeah, yeah. I just heard a rumbling. I was thinking, is that an earthquake? Could be any moment.
Bro, there have been a few, haven't there, SubhanAllah, in Japan? There's been a few.
I got this app,
Following that
okay?
news.
I got this app which is like an earthquake app, okay? And it is insane. Let me open it up and I'll tell you all the earthquakes that happened just today. And I'm filtering it by magnitude 5 and bigger, okay? So,
Okay.
oh, we had one in Turkey. I didn't know about that. It was in the far east where the other earthquake happened, the really bad one. So Turkey had one yesterday, 5, magnitude 5. Bolivia, 5.4. Bolivia, again, 5.4. And then if I check just another day randomly, yeah, Philippines has like 20 a day,
Damn.
like tons of them. Japan as well. So on, so today is, what day is it? Wednesday, right? So on Monday, Japan had 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 earthquakes that are above 5 magnitude. Now, if we go below 5 magnitude, there's probably like 20, 30, 40 of them, right? So, there's a lot of activity. I didn't know there was one in Turkey, in Kahramanmaraş. Yeah, but this Istanbul one is, it's any day, wallah, who knows? Allah yahmina.
I mean, signs of the end times, bro.
Yeah,
Signs of the
definitely.
end times.
I mean, look, bro, it's a good way to go out. Allah take us shaheed, take us as shuhada.
I mean, bro, I saw some new UAP videos.
UAP is the UFO thing, basically, right?
Yeah.
One second. I'm going to take this hoodie off for this, right? I'm really hot. I need to get ready. 1 second.
Okay. Wow. Hi, guys. It's just me and you now. We're talking about aliens now. You ready? So we spoke about books, spoke about speaking. Now we're speaking about aliens.
I'm with you. I'm with you for the UFO update. Last time on UFO Files, X-Files.
Well, now I realize there's some Muslim, obviously you know them, but there's Muslim content creators that talk about this stuff. So Imran from our era.
Imran from our era. Okay, I think I saw he did like a podcast about it. Okay.
Yeah, he's Epistemics on YouTube.
Okay.
And he always has with him, when he's talking about this, is Farouk, I believe his name is. He used to be on Peace TV, I think, years and years ago. I think that was his kind of...
Wait, Farouk, is he the white dude?
Yeah.
Oh, I know this guy. Okay. Yeah, he used to go to my masjid.
Wears glasses?
Yeah, I know, yeah. Long red hair, yeah. Allah
okay. He's on Twitter. He does spaces about it. I can't remember his username. He's not very well known on Twitter in that regard. Like, not everybody knows him, I don't think. But they definitely should. But those two brothers are kind of catching up with the news, and they'll do a space or they do a little YouTube video. There's like a 4-part videos they've done on YouTube. And then Imran put out recently like a whole presentation, more directed to non-Muslims, to kind of tell them, hey, see all this stuff that's going on? Like, we knew about this. Here's a Quran, here's a Sunnah, and delivering it in that way.
And he will show we know about it? Well, I did know about it.
No, as in, like, non-human intelligence that has existed before humans, or existed since...
Like Jinn, is that right? What do you mean?
Yeah, yeah, because, like, basically I haven't gone too deep into it, but what's happening now is obviously there's been a lot of disclosure and a lot of military people and a lot of government things and hearings and basically admitting that, this has happened and this has happened. I say admitting, but that's the narrative. Like, we've got non-human intelligence that we've been in contact with. We've got like ships here. This general, this army, whatever, saw this thing flying. We've got all this footage we're going to declassify. Basically saying there's something out there. And now some of the experts and also some of these people within these organizations are stating that they believe that this has always been here. It's not from outside of our kind of sphere of existence. It's from here, and it's always been here, and we just weren't aware of it, or it's in a different dimension, or whatever it is. And lots of things line up with what we know about Jinn. So, yeah, they're kind of bringing an Islamic perspective, trying to, I think, ينتشروا. What does ينتشروا mean?
Share. Spread.
You know what I mean?
Distribute.
Spread. You know what? Yeah, distribute, I guess. Distribute sounds so...
mechanical.
Like... you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, to the masses of people that are interested in that stuff but have not yet come across Islam. Right? And I think it's that's a niche. Very important. Yeah, it's a very it's a good kind of way of approaching dawah. It's like, imagine before Andrew Tate got big, when people were asking questions about masculinity, now you come in and you're like, Islam says this about masculinity, before the space gets dominated by like bigger figures. It's pretty good approach. Yeah. If you think about it from a like existential crisis point of view, or an existential question, if this was to really like hit, I mean, it kind of is. It's at a level that's never been before. When you've got government hearings saying that we've found a crashed ship, or some of our soldiers or whatever some of our personnel have actually been physically harmed, do you know what I mean? Like, this is really, if it wasn't for everything else going on, this is really would be like front page stuff. Now, that can be a really existential question to people that are religious who aren't Muslim, right? Who don't have that kind of in them. And there are atheists that are already saying, well, this kind of destroys all religions or whatever. Like this destroys all the narratives, and
How does it
it's not
destroy
just
it?
us. I think maybe because their understanding of religion is that we are the be all end all. You know, we are the center of the universe.
Ah, okay.
We are maybe there's nothing better or stronger or greater than humans. I don't know what they think. It's
Yeah,
the same way that people have a concept of God that doesn't necessarily line up with Islam because they have
sure.
this very
Yeah,
like
maybe
oppressive
Christian or
idea of
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So it's whatever that understanding is.
yes, yeah.
Whilst when you come in here and you say, "Oh, what you're talking about doesn't threaten our belief at all," no.
Hmm.
If what you're saying is true, if anything, it strengthens our faith because we know about all of this stuff, right?
Yes.
And I think showing that we aren't phased, or we're prepared for that kind of reality, is really important. I think it's really important.
Hmm.
But I did see a video earlier, which I sent to Farouk, of like this. It was one of those ones where they were speaking about it in the past, where they were saying, "Oh, unidentified aerial phenomena flying over our military bases and stuff." That's what the Americans said. And I think this is a declassified video. It came out earlier today. It looks like a jellyfish, bro. It looks like a big jellyfish, like flying over,
Like
what I
close to
think
the
is a
ground?
military base. It's taken at like an angle, so I can't tell. Like, but you can see the ground, and it's like that. It's like here, and then the camera's like above it, like that way.
And is this, you know, when you say declassified, do you mean stuff from 30 years ago or it's recent?
No, it's recent. It's probably like within the last 5 years.
Okay, so it's declassified for whatever reason. And yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if we're talking about Jinn here, then they must have had experiences with Jinn before and they just kept it under wraps. So why are they, you know, happy to speak about it now?
There's many. I mean, if you listen to, I haven't in a while, but if you listen to like Joe Rogan stuff and a lot of other people that are into that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, no doubt these kind of phenomena have existed for years. Yeah, you've got even a hadith about people being abducted in the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
So Sam, really, yeah?
Jinn encounters. Oh, you're not aware of that one?
No, abducted.
I don't want to narrate it word for word, but from memory.
Well, what can we search
There's
to
a
find
Sahabi.
it? That's crazy.
Sahaba abducted.
Okay.
From what I remember is like a woman had basically lost her husband for so long
Yeah.
that she ended up marrying someone else.
Okay.
The husband then turned up. The Prophet ﷺ basically questioned where he'd been all this time, and he said he'd literally got abducted by Jinn, and he went to their kind of realm, and he was freed by Muslim Jinn who came and saved him. That's
Right.
the crux of the story.
Okay, so Islam QA. It's well known
Correct.
that Sa'ad ibn Ubadah was killed by the jinn when he urinated in a hole in which was their dwelling place. And they said, "We have killed the leader of Khazraj. We struck him with an arrow and we did not miss his heart." At the time of Omar, a man was kidnapped by the jinn and stayed with them for 4 years. Then he came back and told the people that some mushrik jinn had kidnapped him, and he stayed with them as a prisoner. Then some Muslim jinn launched a campaign against them and defeated them and brought him back to his family. Allahu
So it wasn't the
Akbar.
Prophet ﷺ, it was Omar.
Yes.
It was at the time of Omar radiallahu anhu. Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, like, why not? But also it's like interesting to actually hear that.
Yeah. There was a Farouk mentioned it to me. I've read it before, but I don't know the source, but Farouk mentioned it in a voice note to me the other day about Ibn Taymiyyah. Had some writing of a man who used to work with the jinn, so obviously like a sahir of sorts, and I think he said that, or he had on him it describes a device that was given to him that had like liquid glass, and he could communicate with the jinn through it. And I was like, oh, he's got an iPhone 3G. He's got an iPhone.
Yeah.
But
Liquid
so,
crystal
and then also, like,
display.
when you line up a lot of things, like, okay, for example, the jinn in the Quran, in the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam, especially when he was wanting to build a sort of like-for-like castle or dominion that the Queen of Sheba had. The Jinn did it for him. They were competing, in fact, to build this for him.
Well,
Which
I thought he was bring the
Jinn.
throne, no?
I can't remember if he brought it or if he built one exactly the same as it.
But the
I
ayah
feel like he
says,
was building.
"Atik or ati," or like I'll bring it.
Okay. Okay then. Oh God.
If we're talking about the same thing, Yanni.
Yeah, I think there are references to the jinns being able to build.
This would be in Surah An-Naml, is it? قال يا أيها الملأ. Yeah. Is this what you're talking about? أعوذ من الشيطان الرجيم. قال يا أيها الملأ أيكم يأتيني بعرشها. Yeah, whoever brings her throne قبل أن يأتوني مسلمين. قال عفريت من الجن إنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقامك. I'll bring it to you before you get off your seat even. Yeah.
Yeah, so even the ability to do things like that, right?
Yeah, like where was Suleiman? I think he was in like Sham region, was it? So to go from Sham to Yemen and back with a throne in less than a second?
Yeah. So stuff like that, I suppose. I had it in my head it was building, so I was incorrect there. I'm trying to find more. Oh, I'm on Islam Q&A at the moment. Yeah, he would bring the throne of the Queen of Yemen to Jerusalem in a moment faster than that needed. Okay, interesting. Either way, I'm not going to spoil it. If you go to his their channel, I think it's Epistemics. There's like 4 different videos at the moment, and maybe 5 on that topic. If you're interested in like the latest kind of news on the topic, and then how that might match up to what our understanding of the Jinn is. Because this
have you heard of Jinn? Jinn?
No.
Okay. Because I mean, I don't think anything or much is known about it. I don't know where he got it from, but Ibn Kathir put it in Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, which, you know, is the whole history of the universe, basically. So he starts with the creation of everything. And he says that that before humans on Earth, there was Al-Jinn and Jinn. I don't know if they were at the same time or the Jinn was before the Jinn. But he said that. Okay. And I think Bidayah with Nihaya it's not all like Sahih stuff. But he kind of put everything he knew and he could find in there, I believe. And he claimed that there were these, you know, creations that were here, and there was before Jinn there was Al-Jinn. So, but is there much information about them? I don't know where he got it from. Is it from the, you know, Israeliyat? I don't know, but Al-Jinn as well.
Yeah, it's sort of beyond the realm of possibility, you know, even after our judgment and we are, you know, judged and sent to where we're going to spend eternity, I don't think there's anything preventing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creating more creations and testing them the same way, and likewise before us. Allahu A'lam. You know,
yeah.
Allah
I mean, I wonder.
He always creates.
Because in the Quran it says that, is it Yawm al-Qiyamah, that Allah will fold the sky. So that sky that Allah is folding, is it our sky like Earth? Is it our universe? Or is it like all of this realm? Like, you know what I mean? Would any creation exist outside of that Jannah, Jahannam kind of place? I guess maybe it's something that we just don't know. It's not mentioned, maybe.
Allahu A'lam.
That is about Yawm al-Qiyamah, right? السماوات مطويات بيمينه. It's folded in his right hand. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Ponder on that, bro. Not the sky, the skies. All the skies
absolutely
folded in Allah's right hand.
Absolutely. Man. Tomorrow's a big day, isn't it?
You tell me.
Tomorrow is the first day of the ICJ hearing, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
for South Africa.
You got to squeeze in the
Africa versus-
Palestine thing. I mean, why not?
God.
I just,
Yeah, bro.
I just don't want to bore
Unprecedented time in
people.
my lives.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
boring.
So
It's
I didn't.
unprecedented, bro.
When I heard that they were filing this case, so ICJ being the International Court of Justice.
That's it.
So when I heard South Africa's filing a case against Israel for, what is it, genocide?
Oh, genocide, yeah.
Genocide. So yeah, I thought this would be like a 5-year process, to be honest with you. Like, I thought nothing's happening anytime soon. And even Erdogan, he was saying, we're taking all the measures to take them to The Hague and all of that. I thought this is like a 3-year process. Like, it's not going to do much now. But so the fact that like 2 months or whatever after that, something is happening, like, that's good. And apparently the way they're behaving shows they're really not, they don't want this to happen. Like, they don't want, you can imagine, actually, if you are officially by some sort of court labeled as having done genocide or doing genocide, that's a very bad label. They don't care about the reality of it. They're just caring about the labels and the bad PR, right? So it's pretty cool that something actually is taking place pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, although you're right, it could take years for the investigation to really conclude.
Okay.
There is the capability, even in these next 2 days, for provisional measures to be sort of issued to push Israel to cease any more military action. Because it's like the police. You go to the police for something, you say this has happened. If they don't take your report seriously at the beginning, they say, no, we're not doing anything about it. But what they can do, if they do take it seriously, they have to stop that person from doing any further action, which is why they arrested them, or it's why they, I don't know, put a condition on them or whatever, so that they can then investigate. Like, the arrest isn't your punishment. The arrest is actually so the investigation can start.
Yes. And to stop you doing any further potential harm,
yes.
right?
Yeah, and like when you're arrested for, I don't know, an assault, you get arrested. Part of that arrest is also to get your side of the story. People don't realize that, but it's to get your side of the story in a setting where you're away from whoever it is. And then after that, we deem it whether it's, I say we, they deem whether they deem whether, it's safe for them to return to their normal life while the investigation continues, or is there going to be some sort of measures to prevent you going to see that person or engaging with them, or if it's something really serious, actually we need to remand you in prison until this investigation is concluded, and then it goes to court. However, as optimistic as I'm actually more optimistic, I'm noticing a lot of my Twitter followers, because I did a little poll on this.
Okay.
I think 80% of them were like nothing's going to happen with them, or if it's something haven't seized. So, and I'll talk about it in the context of Russia.
Yeah.
Prison. There's a catch up, and they don't. Just like. Russia did, just carry on, same status quo. And the third option is Israel is the case is deemed not worth it, like, oh, you haven't got enough evidence or whatever, and then Israel gets more emboldened than ever. Do you understand? Like, oh, now we're really untouchable.
I'll tell you a different story.
Okay, I'm ready.
I think the situation is already a victory.
Okay, go for it.
The reason being, the victory in this case is to just tarnish Israel's name. It's purely a PR victory. It's not going to stop them with the war and all the violence and genocide they're doing. It's purely a PR thing where, bro, this is a very big deal. That's what I'm saying. It's a victory already, which is that their name is put on newspapers, on headlines, next to the word genocide. That is the victory. They're being taken to court because maybe they committed genocide. Bro, just to be maybe committing genocide and to actually being summoned to a court or whatever, that's enough, actually. That's part of the game. That's the victory here. Is just to do these little things of associating in people's minds Israel genocide, Israel, human rights violations, Israel,
especially
whatever,
with the
ethnic cleansing. Just link these two words all the time.
especially with South Africa pushing for it as well.
Yeah, that's
with their
better. Yeah.
history and apartheid, right?
Yeah. So that's what I think. I think this was never going to stop them doing what they're doing, but it's a victory in terms of, the PR side of things.
Yeah, look, things like for me, I like to err on the side of optimism all the time. I don't know, maybe it's in my nature. But if I was to imagine the end of Zionism, like let's say, imagine it in a realistic sense, not like a cinema movie underdog just comes out of the woodwork kind of thing. Like,
David and Goliath.
A real life scenario. Yeah. In the real world, what would the end of Zionism look like? Like if I was to open a history book and say, oh, the end of such and such political movement, how did it look? Is it like an overnight flash? No, it was probably a long process, but there was a trigger that really kind of, to me, this looks like the scenario we're in now looks like one of those scenarios that maybe in 100 years you'll look at, oh, this is how Zionism ended. One day, this happened. Do you understand what I mean? And when I say one day, but this to me reads like this is it. This is the beginning of the end.
What is the beginning you're talking about?
Project.
Is it the ICJ thing, or what's the beginning?
Well, October 7th onwards, like that kind of big
Era.
moment. Yeah, and from that onwards is like the spark that kind of started the end process, because you're dealing with the generation of people around the world that, let's face it, bro, the majority of the world, no matter what the media wants to say, they don't want this genocide stuff. They are seeing the pictures. Yes, they may say that October 7th was awful and a horrible event, and Hamas shouldn't have done it, whatever. But that has been drowned by the atrocities that Israel's committed. And they don't maybe they don't realize that because it's such a vivid thing in their heads. October 7th, and I'm talking about the Zionists in this regard. Maybe they don't feel like it's important, like the other stuff. But no, I think general population that are following this are like, okay, this is 20,000 dead or so. Like, it kind of it's really blurred October 7th to the point that they have to constantly remind people about October 7th. Oh, this is what we're doing. The reality is nobody's really thinking about that anymore.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's forgotten. Yeah, that pretty much is forgotten. I thought, and now I don't really think this, but I thought what might happen is a bit of one of those hubris moments, right? Where Israel, for whatever reason, thinks they're a big man, bad man. Okay, they go and do what they've done in Lebanon. They provoke Hezbollah or Hezb Shaitan, whatever you want to call them. Different names, same people. They provoke them and they enter into a full war on that northern side. And then they're just like they're stretched thin. That's what I thought might happen. It looks like no matter what, Hezbollah are not going to do anything. So that kind of is gone. But I thought that might be the trigger. That might be this, like, we're stretched everywhere. The north, we're doing this. The south, we're doing this.
Yeah, the theory is that they were only trying to trigger Hezbollah, not so they could fight them, but so that they could drag America into a war with Iran and drag America into, drag other nations into a war. Like, the whole thing with Yemen, they were trying to drag all these Western countries into, like, a conflict with the Houthis in Yemen, because really, they know they ain't got the firepower, the manpower to... I mean, look how everybody was back in Ukraine, okay? Like, remember the start of the Russia war? And now it's like Zelensky's like begging for money.
Yes.
Especially when this conflict started.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't that much, like, at least I'm not seeing it in the media or in the commentary. There isn't that much, like, there isn't the kind of emphasis and the effort of pumping that propaganda and pumping that weaponry, pumping the money that direction anymore.
Yes, definitely.
To the point where he's literally going around asking for handouts. So I think there's only so much, and like, if you want to think about it in like a domestic level, I mean, Biden's got an election coming up. Yeah. This is just lots and lots of material against him. Yeah. Not that I'm saying Trump would be any different. Let's not get it twisted. But what I'm saying
It's
is
just
like
about
all
the
these
timing
things.
more than the person. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ammunition for Trump to use against him. Because Trump's not going to say, "Oh, I wouldn't have done that with Israel." Trump would have said, "Oh, I would have done it better." Like, you know what I mean? Trump's not going to say, "Oh no, free Palestine." That's not
Yeah.
what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trump's going to say, "Oh yeah, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Hamas would have never done this." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do the
Yeah.
accent. You do it really well.
Hamas, terrible people. Yeah. That's a good point, actually. And maybe they're thinking, look, 10 years from now, America will be in a lesser position to help us than now. So, you know, and this thing has happened on October 7th. That is our justification for doing a big thing. So let's do that big thing. Let's get America involved, because in 10, 20 years, we don't even want them involved. They're going to be weaker or weak or whatever. So let's get them now while they're still, you know, got that bite in them. But yeah, you're right. It's not a good time for them. It's too expensive. It's too much of a distraction, and politically doesn't work because of the election. So that's interesting. Yes.
Yeah, like, bro, I think if America really wanted a war, they would have gone, like,
Oh, definitely.
old America was going to wars for things that didn't even exist.
George Bush, bro.
Yeah, like, WMDs. They could have.
Yeah.
As soon as that fake chemical book that they found, or they allegedly found on a Hamas fighter. Oh, look, here's a book on how to make chemical weapons. They would have been like, oh, WMDs, we're going in.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they would have done in the past, bro.
Yeah.
But I think it was Shahid told me. He said, because I asked him like what his opinion is on whether this ICJ thing will go in or out.
Yes.
He said, like, even if the ICJ flops, and it really, because the ICJ passed a motion on Myanmar for genocide on a lower threshold.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As in,
they didn't have
less
to prove
evidence.
Genocide. Oh, okay.
There was less evidence presented compared to what South Africa has. Even Britain lowered the threshold to class what happened to the Rohingya as genocide recently. So they like legislated it. They lowered their threshold, if you know what I mean, just to get that to pass. But the evidence that South Africa has on Israel is way more than what that's what's available in Myanmar, right? Okay. So it will show their hypocrisy if they don't actually follow through. But what he was saying essentially is that this will show the world and, you know, world governments, nations, that this system needs replacing and we need to divert to a different one, and a different one will be created by everyone else. Whether that's like through BRICS, forget the UN, the United Nations and all that sort of stuff. Could be like a BRICS endeavor, could be like an alternative thing going on. It might be take time or whatever, but the global order we have now, that isn't cemented, is it? It came from something, and it could easily change to something else.
Yeah,
in
flexible.
the future.
Yeah. Interesting. You're giving us the inside juice.
The scoop. Yeah. So tomorrow, I think it's 8:00 in UK time. I think Thursday. So, I mean, by the time they listen to this, it would have already happened. And we're going to be sounding silly, but
is it just like a
tomorrow
day thing, like a one session thing? Like it's many sessions.
So it's 2 days. It's 2 days. The initial days are 2 days, Thursday and Friday. Thursday, South Africa presents its case, I think, and it's like 3 hours long. And Friday, Israel, I think, presents its defense, I believe. That's 3 hours long. I kind of wish it was the other way around, but it wouldn't make sense. Because it's more impactful being left with something than it is being. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're given something, it's. Then I think they make a decision whether to start conducting an investigation, whether this has any merit, whether there's anything here, and then I think at that point they can give preliminary measures on Israel to stop military action.
Okay. I wonder. So I remember reading one country, which I don't remember who it was like backing this case. And they were basically backing what South Africa's doing. And I don't think it was even a Muslim country. But like, why is no Muslim country getting involved here? Like, especially Turkey, because they specifically mentioned that they were going down this route as well.
Turkey backed it.
Oh, they did back it. Oh, okay.
And the OIC backed it as well, which is a collective of Muslim countries.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're backing it as the OIC or they're backing it as the countries themselves.
Probably not the countries.
So
You would imagine.
Another thing that I asked. I know, obviously, whatever people have differing views with Shahid, but I did ask him this. I said, "What's your point of view on South Africa being the one to launch this?" He said that South Africa isn't isolated; it's the chair of BRICS on this at this period. So it could easily be a coordinated BRICS effort where they selected South Africa as the representative because, number one, it makes the Muslim states feel impartial. Because if it was a Muslim state or an Arab state coming to this, they would say they've got too much vetted interest in this thing. So it could be like if Egypt went, for example, or Jordan did it, they'd say, well, they're worried about their borders, so of course they're biased. Allahu alam. I'm just saying this is a hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
South Africa has got the trump card of knowing apartheid and having won and defeated it before.
Yes.
And now presenting it as this powerful, look, we made mistakes, but we can recognize our mistakes. Here we go. And if you think about it as a coordinated BRICS effort, then it makes a lot of sense. But obviously it's politics. Allahu alam. I'm not saying it either way.
Yeah.
But when you think about it from that perspective, it might actually make sense.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, the UN Security Council, I read that they changed their members. You know, they have the temporary members. Is it every year or 2 years they change out? So the kind of...
Oh, really?
There are 4 or 5 spots for it. So it was UAE in there. That's why UAE was, when they had this vote on ceasefire, I think it was, the UN Security Council.
Yeah.
The UAE was putting forward the motion of ceasefire. So because UAE was like the only Muslim country, I think, in it. And now they swapped out. Now Algeria is the only Muslim country there.
Right, yeah. I haven't noticed that, to be honest.
The UN Security Council, not like the biggest of things. They have the permanent,
isn't it?
they have the permanent members who, like Russia, US, etc. They never swap out and they can veto stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to look at the language of the politicians that were very pro-Israel even before. And I'm not saying they're pro-Palestinian now, whatever. I'm not saying that. But even they are starting to backtrack. Canada was one. Macron from France, he was like, "Oh, there's been too many civilian deaths." Speaking about Israel, even David Cameron yesterday, the Foreign Secretary of England, he was like, "Oh, I'm worried that Israel may have broke some international laws here."
Yes.
And it's like, "Oh, are they trying to get ahead of the game here? Is that what's happening?"
Well, that's how it looks. That's how, analysts who know what they're talking about. I think that's the kind of stuff they do. They'll be like, okay, they're saying this to prepare for this happening, blah, blah, covering themselves, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely. Inshallah khair, I really hope, obviously, we get some good news. The people of Gaza that really deserve some good news after all these, I mean, what, it's like 95 days, 96 days now? Subhanallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah khair, what can we say?
Yes.
What can we say?
Yes. I think we have to sort ourselves out in the best way we can and strive for Jannah in the best way we can and make ourselves useful for ourselves and for our brothers and sisters.
Ameen.
Let's end on that, inshallah. I'm glad to be back. I had a few other topics, but I'm glad that we didn't use them because we want to make these episodes punchy and intense, concentrated in valuable points and storytelling.
Yeah. So what did we speak about today? Let's go over it. We did storybooks. We did public speaking and how that assists in our delivery of words.
Yeah.
See, I clearly haven't learned anything. We did
Third kids.
Kids.
Your new spot. ICJ. UFOs.
ICJ. UFOs.
Boom.
Bro, mind heist.
Boom.
My mind has been heisted.
Allahu Akbar. Yalla. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Shadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.